welcome to the deep dive. Today we're asking, is Dubai real estate still that golden ticket? Or is the market maybe heading for a bit of an adjustment? We're diving deep into two specific opportunities in Jumeirah Village Triangle, JVT Voxa by Pantheon, and Essenl1fe by Object One.
Right. And our goal here is really to give you the insights, the context you need to understand the risks and rewards for each one, so you can line up any decision with your own goals, your liquidity, and, well, how much risk you're comfortable with.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Dubai's growth. It seems immense. What's actually happening on the ground? The headlines are huge.
Oh, they are. The numbers are pretty staggering, actually. Primary market sales hit AED 275 billion last year, 2024. That's what, a 6.5-fold increase in just 5 years? It's extraordinary.
6.5 times. Wow.
And the population growth keeps pace. Nearly 90,000 new residents just in the first quarter of this year. That's about 1,000 people moving in every day.
1,000 a day. Okay. But even with that boom, things aren't uniform across the board, are they? What about JVT specifically? How's it performing within this broader picture?
That's a really important point. JVT is, a definite hotspot. Great rental yields averaging almost 9% back in December 2024. And this is where you need to look closer. It gets nuanced when you look at apartments. Capital growth was generally strong, yes, but studios, they actually declined. Over 8% in the 12 months leading up to that point. One bed saw a tiny increase, less than 1%.
So not the across-the-board boom you might assume just from the headlines. People wanting more space, maybe?
Exactly. It suggests a shift, in what buyers or renters are prioritizing. It means for you as an investor, you can't just look at the area, you have to look at the specific type of unit. Crucial
distinction. Okay, looking forward then. What's the prediction for the market, especially when these projects we're discussing are actually finished and ready for handover? We hear talk of a potential correction.
Yes, and that's the critical question, isn't it? What's the market doing right when you need to complete the purchase? Experts are predicting a moderate correction.
Moderate meaning?
Up to maybe 15% drop in residential prices, likely starting late 2025, maybe into 2026. The main driver seems to be supply. There's an estimated 210,000 new units expected over the next couple of years. That basically doubles the supply we saw in the previous 3 years combined.
Doubling the supply. Okay. And the handover dates for these projects. Essenl1fe is Q4 2027, Voxa Q3 2028. So they land right in that potential stabilization period.
Precisely. It's something you absolutely have to factor into your calculations.
Right. So with that context, let's dig into Voxa by Pantheon first. What's their story?
Pantheon's known for this niche of affordable luxury, and they have a pretty solid track record. They often highlight delivering projects ahead of schedule.
Ahead of schedule is always good to hear in development.
Definitely. They've done 10 projects in JVC alone, apparently, with that record. But what's really interesting with Vox is the payment plan.
How so?
Only 5% is due when the unit is actually handed over. And then a big chunk, 35%, is spread out after handover over 6 years.
Ah, okay. So you're not facing a massive bill right at completion.
Exactly. It's like a built-in risk management tool. You could potentially use rental income to cover those later payments.
Yeah.
Gives you a buffer, if the market is a bit soft then. Reduces that immediate cash crunch risk.
That flexibility sounds like a key advantage, a sort of safety net. Okay, now let's switch to Essenl1fe by Object One. They've made serious waves in terms of sales, right?
They really have. Huge growth. They hit the top 3 in JVT for initial sales volume in Q1 this year, and their sales value in 2024. It jumped over 900%.
900%. What's their angle?
They focus on design, calling it contemporary art in real estate. Plus lots of smart home tech, Tady locks, full automation systems, very modern.
I sense a but.
Well, their track record of completed projects in Dubai isn't as long as Pantheon's. And there have been some, let's say, market observations about minor delays on their earlier projects. Nothing major, but worth noting. And the payment plan is quite different. For Essenl1fe, 40% is due upon handover in Q4 2027.
Okay, so a much larger lump sum needed right at that potentially tricky market point we discussed earlier.
Correct. That increases your immediate liquidity risk. You need to be sure you'll have that 40% ready, regardless of market conditions or potential rental income delays right at the start.
So, boiling it down for someone listening, how do you weigh these two? They seem quite different.
It really comes down to balancing factors. On one hand, you have Pantheon's proven reliability and that very flexible risk-mitigating payment plan with Voxa. On the other hand, Object One's Essenl1fe offers potentially cutting-edge tech, premium amenities, and you get in a bit earlier, though that timing carries that market risk we talked about.
So the choice really depends on your personal situation, doesn't it? Your appetite for risk, how much cash you can access easily, what your main goal is.
Absolutely. There's no single right answer. Due diligence is key, obviously. And keep a very close eye on how the market actually develops as those handover dates get closer.
Okay, here's something to think about then. As you weigh these paths, the proven track record versus the exciting innovation, how do you value certainty against potential upside in a market that everyone agrees is evolving, maybe even correcting?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Something definitely worth mulling over as you navigate your next potential investment.